Any other old business? New business?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up under new business that we have, we had a workshop on the police thing. We have started that. There has been some emails back and forth, and I wanted to make a constructive comment that, one of the real things that I have enjoyed about public service, whether it's been on the school board or here, is to have these kinds of discussions that we just had with the audience, or for this issue that we do it in public on TV. And the reason I say that is that I didn't even know that My Rye existed. It was brought my attention, but there's a section, and I guess there's about 9 people that contributed to it, but there's a section somewhere near the end of August where it's, from the audience, somebody brings up to Joe that he had mentioned the Rye Art Center, and his response is that, that was taken out of context. And the reality is that what happened that night was an expansive dialogue with the staff, the council, and the consultants. And my perspective is that a lot of sites were put forward. And it's kind of interesting in this little blog thing or whatever that somebody else had brought up, Biltmore, which came up that night, that there was, a dialogue about 1037, which was discussed that night. There was dialogue about the existing facility, which that happened that night. There was dialogue about the abutting building where I guess Gruber's and the real estate people had been. There was, and then the one across the street and whatnot. And unfortunately, Joe, what happened was that whether you put the title on, or the instrument of communication that you chose to use put the title on, the title of your article was that kids and perps don't mix. And it got your neighbors aroused, which I don't blame them. But it also then put you in the position that when it was brought to the attention of whoever was contributing to this dialogue that you had mentioned the Rye Arts Center, that is in a residential neighborhood next to a recreational facility within very short distance to 2 nursery schools and a general school zone. And it didn't help you, didn't advance whatever message you were trying to put across in your original email to My Rye or whatever. And the mayor very forcefully in the work session put forward that he didn't support that. The whole idea that it be a DISBRO. And he has a majority of the council that agrees with you and him that it shouldn't be there. Now, my perspective is that this dialogue has been going on since 1994. And more recently, it was studied in 2000. And we're talking about spending $15 million. And I said at that work session, and I say again on tonight, on TV, 1, we are going to have to prove to the community that there is a need for a new police court facility. We're going to have to justify a need. 2, we're going to have to explain, as part of that process, why it's going to cost as much money as it is. We are then going to have to go through a series of searches in terms of what is the proper location, and we are going to have to show in a very transparent way why we have chosen to move forward with a very expensive facility in a specific location. And as I said that night, and I repeat again, my experience in public government is that whatever we choose to do, we will be questioned. This is a smart community. It's got a lot of A-type personalities. I don't mean that as an insult to the people in this community, but they're bright. They afford themselves an opinion. They educate themselves about an issue, and they test the community, and they test their elected officials. And we have a duty, I have a duty, because I was part of the decision to move into buying 1037 as a possible alternative, because if we didn't do that, we were going to lose the opportunity of that forever, if not for the next 20 years. But at the time that I and a majority of the council decided to move forward with that, we made a commitment to the community. I made a commitment to myself that I would not bond that and buy that unless I could project to the community what I thought I was going to do with it and what a projected cost would be of a police facility, police court facility, if we were chose to do it there. So, number one, all right, you had your answer on the night that you had the work session, that it wasn't going to go there. You chose to go forward, okay, and put in the blog. Whether you chose the title or not, it was inflammatory. You got into a dialogue with apparently 9 people or whatever, maybe a dozen people or whatever. As part of that dialogue, it came out that you supported the Rye Art Council, and you took exception to that, all right? You wanted whoever garnered, whatever it is, garnered Brad to come forward. And so I would just point out to you, by the written distastefulness, okay, and aggravation you show in this, then you should have some kind of sensitivity, okay, as to how I felt or Catherine felt. Now, I don't care. You don't owe me an apology, but you owe her an apology, okay? Because what you did was wrong, okay? It was wrong. We're all grown-ups. We get the opportunity every 2 weeks. You got a bone to pick. You want to pick a fight with me, do it on public TV. Don't do it through a blog site. Don't put half the story out there. And that's what happened. You put half the story out there, all right, perps and kids, all right, and the reality is that you threw forward and took exception when it was put back that your exception was to take the Rye Art Center, which is used by thousands of kids, okay, by people on an annual basis, which borders the rec center and is in a residential area and next to schools. And that was the whole point of why it shouldn't go at Disbrook.
Are you done, George?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done for now. Lay it on me, buddy. On TV for the record. So people can hear you, and then they can turn around and they can watch it again.
Well, George, I have no intention on laying anything on you.
Well, you did the other day, and you're wrong.
What I will do, George, is ask you to go back in time to last Monday when we were all sitting in that mayor's conference room, okay, when it was a public meeting, but not a single member of the public was in attendance. And unfortunately, because we had it in the mayor's conference room and not in this room, it wasn't videotaped and it wasn't tape recorded, okay? But during that meeting, you specifically suggested that we look at putting the police station at Disbrook Park.
True.
Okay? And I responded, I was somewhat shocked, and so you don't deny that you did. I said, George, aside from the fact that I think it's completely inappropriate to put it there for a variety of reasons that I will go through with you, do you realize that it's actually 100 feet from my family's front door? And your response, George, was, do you want to say it or should I?
No,
I thought it was even closer than that, George.
No, I said, I thought it was only, I said if it was 50 feet.
So, talk about inflammatory and talk about wise guy comments in a situation that certainly didn't call for it. To the mayor, to his credit, said that he was opposed to it. Okay? You did not say that you were opposed to it. In fact, you said then, and you're confirming now, that you were in favor of looking at it. Okay? I don't think that it should even be looked at. And I will not apologize for letting people know that there is at least one member and 2 members of the council suggesting that we look at it at a meeting that no one was able to attend.